Welcome everyone to another very special episode of the World Stone Keep. This show we're going to be going over some B-roll footage and anything we missed in the last show that we did. The last show we did was episode 30, where I got back from the media event, the Diablo 3 media event from Blizzard, and we just gushed for 2 hours on all the crazy amounts of information we got. New systems, old systems, broken systems, skill systems, everything pretty much, and the auction house. But there is some points we kind of missed in that last show and some areas we need to go into further detail on because, I mean, one show to go through all that is just not enough. But the bulk of this episode is going to be devoted to going over the B-roll footage. We got a little flash drive at the Diablo 3 media event with some screenshots and B-roll footage. This one's about 7 minutes long, I believe, around there. So we're going to be talking about that. We're probably going to go through it once or twice, maybe even 3 times. With me on the show, Jordan, Ken, and Dan, the usuals. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
What's going on? Hello, I just can't even wait. I'm so excited.
There's some new footage we're going over in here. And we've all watched it previously, so
new spells.
let's say our names and our favorite part that we're going to watch coming up here.
I'm Dan,
geez.
and I'm interested in the monk stuff because the monk is the greatest class ever. Sorry to break it to you, Ken.
Fool.
Nice.
No, you're wrong.
I'm Jordan. I have to agree on the monk, but I really liked those little flaming dart arrow things from the demon hunter, and their epic guided arrow piercing effect, and all of that wonderful stuff.
Excellent. Ken.
Wow. Well, yeah, I'm Ken. So actually what I'm most excited about, since I don't need to prove that the wizard's the best, I mean, it's easy to see. I'm mostly just excited about new spells we haven't seen before, all of the new little, some that we have that are rune that we haven't seen before. I love seeing
That's right.
stuff. So there's a ton of stuff I'm giddy about right now.
And I'm Joe, your host, and I'm most excited about the Witch Doctor stuff. I got to play that one, and he was probably the favorite one I played up there at Blizzard, and he's got some new skills to show off in this one that we're going to check out. And so let's get into it. Everybody got your fingers on the play button? Let's start in 3, 2, 1, play. Ooh, that logo. I love that logo. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Starting out with the barb, I believe. Yep, there he is. Killing some goat men. I didn't get to fight any of those.
Got himself a nice flanged
Seismic
mace.
slam.
Got a couple axes.
Gee, didn't
going
see
here.
that trap coming.
The bodies on the ground.
Walking trees.
Just love he smashes them and he goes flying and parts of him falls off the edge.
See, now that right there, that they've got cheats
Yeah.
on. That seismic slam just one shot that entire
Or maybe
pack.
that's just how he
Not
rolls.
to mention, not to mention.
No, that's just the barbarian.
See, look, he just casts them all kind of willy nilly. Must not have too high a cost, or he's been beating the heck out of stuff for a while there.
Witch Doctor.
New skill there, the spider.
Yeah, we've been-
puking little spiders around him, right? He's doing
Right.
AoE. It doesn't look like the spider itself actually
That's
attacks
right.
anything. You can hear it. He just walks beside them.
And you can kind of hear the hit noise when it stands next to them.
Yeah.
And there's another new skill. Zombie
What a-
stage dive.
What on earth is that?
Stage diving zombies.
I have no idea.
They know how to rock and roll like it's the 90s. Nirvana's
It's
back.
pretty fantastic.
All right, here is our hex section because that you could actually see the chickens transform out
Yep.
in the field there.
Did you notice the little
So is that the
little
giant
snake
toad?
he's running around with in his hand? Offhand weapon, or offhand item, I should say.
No, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
we'll catch it
It's
through the
pretty,
next
This
time.
part's depressing. Alright, and teleport and put up slow time and then run back to magic missile. Come on. Boring.
Yeah, there's kind of no reason to put up slow time there. There's no ranged characters there.
No.
Trying to.
People want to see
Right
slow
here,
time.
two ruined things really nice. What this spell is
I really like
See,
that
the
electrocute.
disintegrate that has 2 beams instead of 1, but like, is it electrocute or charge bolt? That's what I
There's
want to
like,
know.
did you guys notice those little pool of lava that sprouts up around the wizard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
are those the wizard
Yeah.
or are those
I have
the
no
enemy?
idea because we see another class coming up. I think it's the monk where that happens too. So it may be a ruined ability, like it adds it to an ability, depending on what it is.
Or it
What's
could just
this,
be one of the enemies they're fighting, like that's their attack, is it causes the
Right.
pool of lava.
Right.
all these
I don't-
blue arrows? Like, there's fan of knives there, which looks sweet, but what's all these blue arrows? What spell is that?
Super rapid fire too.
I think that's rapid fire. Is that
Really?
rapid fire?
Oh,
Joe
awesome.
was you got to play the Demon Hunter, and rapid fire would have been one of the
I didn't
skills.
actually get to play rapid fire, but they demonstrated it during the big presentation they had at the beginning, and that it could be rapid fire, but the one they showed off was just like a straight line of red arrows, and it was just like hundreds of arrows they were launching out at the same time. So it very well could be, but the one I saw was red.
Like a
Oh
rune?
yeah.
Rapid fire?
Look at that
Look
monk.
at how, look at how long it's from a kill, like 4 guys. Gosh, monk.
Yeah.
Let me just knock them back some more.
I think that was the extended range skill you saw, just kind of shooting out in 3 directions. One of
Far
the
like distant strike or extended reach track. Crap, I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Bell.
Come on, Joe. Chime in anytime. Here.
Sorry, my computer crashed. I just got it back up. That was going off memory. But yeah, the monk that had like a pretty cool ability that they showed off in the demo, where he takes his staff and he spins it in front of him really fast, and it allows him to like charge through stuff and knock enemies out of his way. So that's kind of like one of his escape skills. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing a lot
I think
of
that
knockback.
was, if I remember from listening to the presentation, that was the new version of Impenetrable Defense, where he spins
Yeah,
his
yeah,
staff.
yeah.
And rather than the, I mean, I guess the original version it was staff spinning as well, but you were
Right.
stationary and
Hitting stuff back.
Nice little charge
See,
punches
this is
there.
where the monk's actually doing some winning. Yeah, the charge punches.
Winning.
You can see very
Ooh, the Wretched
distinctly
Mother?
He is pretty
That
much
one that was
naked.
like kind of walking away from the fight. That Wretched Mother, she pukes
Yeah.
on the ground, and zombies crawl out of her puke. It is
Yeah.
disgustingly fantastic. There's actually a quest where you have to go and take
I
some
love
of them
when
out.
after they kill like a group of guys, you see both characters like running in a circle, picking up all the loot the other guy
Yeah.
can't see. I could see
You
there
see
being a
lots-
time where you're just like standing there watching your ally run around in a circle, and you're like, what are you doing?
This is King Leorc's dungeon. He actually like pops up in various places, and he'll like lock gates or make a bridge collapse so you can't go any further. Stuff like that.
Look at those flame bolts. And they actually go through the first target, change directions to the
Mhm.
second target. Make that nice little cool thud sound. Up, demon
I love how
babies.
she-
Yep,
She's
there's
like-
the demon babies.
I love the dual wield crossbow. Yeah, there they are.
And they actually are naked. I think they come up at another shot right around here.
Yeah, they come up right here.
Yeah, the dual crossbows was actually, I favored them over the single bow. I found a bow that was pretty powerful, but I tend to favor the dual crossbows because the firing rate was quicker, and it just seemed like I was doing more damage and casting more spells. It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
I like that firebolt that when it hits, it like seeks other
Mhm.
guys out. Really like how fan of knives
Yeah.
looks too.
It's really cool.
It's pretty rad.
That bola shot
Still
is
not
very
a fan
handy.
of bullet shot.
It was
Like,
pretty
why?
handy, I have to admit. Especially in
Oh, there's the
groups,
wizard.
if you shoot it on the right guy,
Mhm.
it just pops them. Awesome.
So that seems to be a Frost Nova right there. It has knockback effect, slows everything down.
Oh, there was something that just happened there. He did a wave of force, and it knocked all of the fence blew up too. I
Yeah.
like that. It's just like fine little detail that this is like actually a world.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I love that
There's
stuff.
so many destructible things in the game.
And like it doesn't hurt anybody. It's not like an event or anything. It's just cool.
Yep.
I blew up the fence.
If you notice earlier on when the demon hunter's playing, you actually see a bowler shot fly off and hit a stump and blow it up to reveal treasure.
Yep. That was actually one of the handy things. Rather than smashing every barrel by hand, you could just cast like an AoE damage spell and pop them all open at the same time.
Way better than the Diablo 2 system.
Yeah.
Run over, kick, 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 kick. Okay.
And
What am I
one's
doing in
like
here?
fire trap with like 100 attached to it, and you die. Oh man, that was it's good. It's just all the rune stuff. Like I want a list of what all these are doing. Like what was that rune disintegrate doing? Why was it 2 beams? One.
Oh, I'd assume like so guess wise and speculation wise, I would say so. The rune disintegrate seems pretty straightforward. That's just the higher damage version of it.
Right.
But it's 2 smaller beams instead of 1 big one.
It seems like whatever one splits generally for skills, like, the one that splits for Arcane Bolt probably does it.
I read somewhere what the different disintegrates runes did to them.
Boom, boom, boom. Subject to change.
I was going to say, most likely it's changed 4 or 5 times since you read that, though.
Yeah, they were very clear on that point that everything is subject to change. They're still playing around with skills. Okay, yeah, I'm re-looking at the video, and it does look like those little lava pits are mob cast, so nothing from the wizard. Actually, look like the skeletons cast them.
Yeah.
All right, we want to watch it again? Skip to the beginning.
All right.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
There we go. Awesome logo.
I love the body parts. Look at the body parts.
And the fence.
Limb.
I do like how they don't just stand up, they swirl into action.
There's this great little sound effect with it, like whoosh.
Yeah.
Joe, the things that get me is when they come up and the barb just like turns to his left and he's like just backhands that one and he just flies in all different directions.
Nice.
And this
Joe...
giant hammer. Look at the size of it.
I love that hammer. It's so impractical.
I'm telling you, it's the size
it's like
of
a
like
schlocky 80s, action movie kind of hammer, like Conan the Barbarian. I guess 70s.
Look at the snake. Look at the snake. I love it.
You could also see the zombies up in the top left corner eating a body.
Yep. I can't mention
that was
before.
the
it's so fantastic running up on that.
He's holding a snake in his hand. That's hilarious.
Stage dive.
Okay, it's skills like that actually make me want to play the Witch Doctor. That's so funny.
The freaking icing on top is just like his sound effects whenever he casts a spell.
So
the things he says.
The totem there, like it's a bunch of little fetishes stacked on top of each other.
It is Diablo 2 Act 3 fetishes. Straight up, and there's actually a couple different ones that do various things. They had them during the presentation. I don't remember exactly what they did.
You could tell that he actually had 2 different types there, because one had 2 standing on top of one another, the other had 3. So one obviously did the hex spell. The other one, I'm not really sure.
I think he's got one that things that are killed within that area like restore life or mana to the Witch Doctor.
Yeah.
Like, so it does damage to anything in that circle, but it also because you see when things die, these like ghosts come out of them and fly to the witch doctor.
Yeah. Demon Hunter.
Those
Those are the dune threshers or whatever.
Yeah.
They're
The ones
designed
that
to
he was
mess
talking
with
about where they
ranged
burrow.
characters.
Yeah, the burrowers. Can't hit
Right.
them underground.
Yeah.
Focus.
It said
They focus their
specifically-
attacks more on ranged characters. Oh, look at that explosion!
flaming rib
Oh
cage
yeah,
and parts
that's
flying
something to
everywhere.
note, that there is actually there's monsters that will specifically target ranged characters over melee
Mhm.
characters.
That's right.
What was with the giant ninja
It's gonna be
stars there?
fun.
I don't know. That was a skill we haven't seen before. I've heard nothing
I
on
don't
it.
know what it
They're
was,
sweet.
but it annihilated them.
Yeah, it did.
You also notice the big fat guy there. Whenever he attacks, these sections within the sutures actually poke out of his body in all directions.
Yeah, and he has like spikes that come out.
Right.
He has a couple different attacks. He has one where he just like leans back and then swipes you with his hands. He looks like a bloated starfish. And then he has one where he pumps out his stomach and spikes come out. Little...
There's actually points here when you notice the monk attacking that he's not actually killing anything.
You can tell that
Has
right
he
in,
killed a single goatman yet?
nice.
See, that's because the monk is
Wait,
so
here comes the
awesome that they
bell.
didn't have to
Oh.
cheat for his.
Give him infinite resources.
Yeah,
and-
well, no, look, even if he's at the right level that he's supposed to be, he's still not killing anything.
No, this is a level
needs a
12
wizard
monk in
buddy there.
Nightmare.
Kaboosh.
Did you notice the palm effect over that one target in blue?
Nope.
I love that charge.
I'm actually guessing it's some kind of variation of the exploding palm technique, considering it had that animation.
Mhm.
So now I like this.
We're
This goes
actually-
into
we're
the
look-
lore that we.
Yeah, this is Adria's little cellar down here that nobody knew about. This is under her little hut from Act 1 in Diablo. Or from Diablo 1, rather.
Oh, so that's how she got all those scrolls and stuff. She would actually go into the dungeon and kill stuff, and then bring it back to the hut and sell it to you. That makes sense.
Completely overpriced, I might add.
Oh yeah, it's a good thing that money was so
Finder's
easily
fee.
duped.
Half corpses crawling towards you. I love those.
Yeah.
You know what? Like this female monk is ripping things up. I think that's the problem. The male monk is just a wimp. He's just a wimp.
I think he was fighting slightly more difficult targets.
That red,
though.
like, pistol blast, that was one of the defensive skills. Like, if an enemy's close to you and you're firing that off, you'll actually do, like, a backflip away from them. And that's actually a really cool spell. It has, like, a sound effect that you're shooting off an old flintlock pistol or something like that. And it sounds just like a little cannon blast. It's really cool. Really cool spell to use.
So that uses some of the blue resource.
Yeah. That's one of the ones that was using discipline. Demon babies!
Discipline or whatever.
I like how they run around with their arms up in the air.
I'm the great Cornholio!
That spot there was the best shot we have of that red arrow, where it like hits 5 of these different familiars.
Uh-huh.
Did you
One
guys see?
shot. That's
Did
sweet.
Did you see that corpse slide all the way to the top corner? Just continuously, it went just whoosh, all the way off screen,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Oh, that wasn't an obvious trap. Those guys'
Pretty
shields actually work very well if you try and shoot them from the front.
Oh, that's right. This is the Templar she's running around
That's
with.
right, that's Cormac right there.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't look like that when
He's
you
pretty
first get
cool.
him. But yeah, he was definitely useful when I was playing with the Demon Hunter. He was tanking a lot of stuff for me.
Taking one for the team like a champ.
That's right. Thank you, Cormac.
Did that goatman just jump out of the ground?
I don't no. To go back.
So he wasn't there, and then all of a sudden he just jumped out of that hole.
Oh, yeah, he totally did. Little goatman hole.
But no, they came underground. They don't exactly
now we
look
know where
like
they live.
burrowing creatures.
Interesting. So yeah, there's the second playthrough of the video. See, I got a little list here. Vile Mother, commied her.
He could have been looking first.
Shared stash. Oh, one thing we didn't mention about the shared stash in the last episode was, in order to get all the free spaces, all the massive amounts of storage, you actually have to pay for more space. So it works kind of like a gold sink, and obviously, the higher you get, the more space it'll take, and the more money it'll take. So it's a
we
gold
kind of
sink.
already had this idea. We kind of already had this idea a long time ago when they announced that there were going to be bags in the game,
Mhm.
but definitely didn't think about it in terms of the stash. So that is very interesting.
Yeah. We also had a question that we didn't answer. You're still going to check if equipped weapons or offhand items are mandatory. And you can barehand if you want to. You don't have to use weapons. I guess somebody was concerned about a barehanded monk build that they wanted to try out. And yeah, you can totally go barehanded if you want. Just punch things with your fists.
That chick looked pretty barehanded a lot of that time.
Yeah, well, they have like fist weapons and stuff for the monk.
She looked pretty bare everything.
Nice. It's kind of hard to tell if she was using, like knuckle dusters or just complete lack of weapon.
Yeah.
I know her hands glowed the entire time, so.
One thing that we kind of glazed over was the enhancement system. We didn't really go into depth about that, and that's kind of like, I think it's a new one that we don't really know much about, which say you get an item that's plus 30% increased attack speed, just some random stat like that, and the max is like 50. You'll be able to sink some gold into it and try and roll for a higher value until eventually that stat gets up to perfect, which would be 50%. And you'll be able to do that with any item, I'm pretty sure.
See, now, I love that
Mhm.
because you get a really nice item, and it's like, oh well, it could be better though. Like, it's a controlled way. It's adding a little bit of player control into the randomness. That if you find something nice, you're not, you can actually just go out and look for something that has the right stat, and then just slowly chip it up.
Right. And they also said, like, when you do that, it will never decrease. So it will always increase. So it's not like a real risk factor to try to do
it'll
it.
increase by like a random
Percentage. Random amount. Little chickens. Yeah, that's
Not
what
like
one
they
of the
were
little
trying to
totems...
bring back.
Sorry, I'm rewatching the video. That's what one of the little totem dudes do for the witch doctor, is he turns all the mobs that are in like a certain radius into chickens.
Yep, hex spell. I remember also from the previous information, there was a question about what if you had, say, an axe that naturally had frost on it, and then you did something to have fire on it. Which one would it actually proc off of? And didn't they say that the only actual elemental effect would be the original?
The only way to get elemental effects is for it to be spawned with
Right.
it. So, like, to be generated with it.
Yeah,
Right.
so you'll never have like a weapon with 2 on it, I believe. And I think the actual question they asked was, if I'm dual wielding, say like an electric one and a fire one, which one is it gonna take? And I think he said it'll switch between the two. So if you hit one with electric, it'll electrocute him, and then if you hit one with fire, it'll set him on fire, and so on.
Yeah. That dual wielding works the way you'd think it would, is that whichever weapon they swung for the attack is the one that applies the effect.
Yep.
All right.
And one system we need to do some more justice to, because I was editing the show, and I really feel we need to go more into depth, is the skill system and how, like, because it's really hard to illustrate just how much you'll be able to customize your character and just how many varying combinations there are to each class with this new system and what they're doing with ruins. It's really something you need like hands-on experience and to mess around with, because if you think about how many skills there are in the game, and then 5 ruins change these in very different ways, and not to mention the skills that you choose, how they interact with one another, and play off one another, I mean, it's just an extremely huge amount of customization. That plus, augmented with your gear and everything. So it really opens the door to really finding crazy builds that, may seem nuts, like Plague of Toads, just really focusing on Plague of Toads and stuff that would support that skill. And just going in, that's just like one little tiny branched off area of a build that you can do. And the example that they used was the Battle Mage. And we went into one skill, but they were also talking about like Diamond Skin, how I don't remember exactly what they said about it. But anyways, there's like a melee skill too for the wizard, and it was like
The Spectral Blades.
Spectral Blades, that's right.
Spectral Blades.
Yeah, they were talking about that, and how that's really like an up close skill. And when you're using that for a battle wizard, there's a rune that augments it to where it'll be lifesteal. So it becomes viable to help you stay up in the fight and in combat, because you'll be getting life back with every hit.
Yeah,
And the other thing
and that one
that
I actually
Think
found
about
really
this,
interesting.
Do you want me to give the rundown with them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it was okay. You had Spectral Blade, which did rune to give life steal. You had Diamond Armor, which rune to return damage. You had the Arcane Orb, which was rune to make a orb circle around you and deal damage to things.
Yep.
And then there was the Storm Armor, which was runed to really increase the amount of damage things took from hitting you.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of up-close melee damaging stuff, that returning damage, dealing damage just for being near the wizard, which is very, very different from how a wizard would normally play.
Right. And this is just one build. He said there's multiple ways to do a battle mage. I mean, those are just a few skills. I mean, and a few runes at that. So times that with all the skills and all the runes and all the different combinations. I mean, there's just tons of ways you could do a battle mage. And it's all about, messing around and finding out what works best for you, for what build you're trying to go for.
I do have a big question, though, about this runing question that we were kind of talking about before the show. Is how many skills can you have at any time?
6. So it's whatever active skills you have going. Those will
so
be
it
ruined.
is 6, and you can't have every single skill ruined.
Right, because you can't have every single skill out at the same time. So when you go to
Right.
switch the skill out and the new one comes in, I assume the rune will pop into there, but I'm not exactly sure.
You have to do that in town. You can only switch skills in town, or can you switch them? Can I do it on the fly?
Yeah, you can switch skills while you're out there in the environment. So when you're out, my point was when you're out there fighting, you don't have to stop fighting. You just, say, oh, I leveled up, I got a new skill, I'm going to try it out right now. You just pick one of the skills you want to switch it out with and test it out right there. Again, it's no more worrying about, do I want to put a skill
how
point
does
in
that-
this?
You have to be out of combat to do that?
No, I don't think so. I think you could just bring up your skill window and do it right then and there.
Because
How does that apply to
well,
runes,
see,
though?
now my concern with that is that, okay. One of my concerns is, like, are you putting the runes in the skills themselves, or are you putting the rune in your slot? So, like, do I put an obsidian rune in slot 3, and whatever skill I put in there, obsidian rune, or am I putting obsidian rune into electrocute and move it through 1 to 6? That's what it has.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work. I mean, we didn't even get to play around with runes in the build, but here's what I think is going to happen. So you have your 6 slots for active skills, and it's like a little list, and they have little slots for runes that you can throw in there. And so when you put a rune in, it obviously changes the skill somehow. And this is all speculation. I assume if you were to switch that skill out, the rune would stay with whatever skill that you put the rune into. So when you switch it out for a new skill, the little rune slot would become blank again, and then you could then toss a rune in there. I'm pretty sure you have to go to somebody in town to be able to remove that rune, so you can't do it like while you're out there in the world if you want to put a different type of rune in that skill. That's how I think it's going to
See, but that would mean that I have a rune every skill.
Yep.
Worry about this is that I'm not actually customizing my character, because I now have every skill in the game, and I have every one of them runed, and all I have to do is hit like T to open up my spellbook and switch between any skill. I'm not actually making any tough choices about what skills I'm going to take, what kind of I'm going to be, because I'm just going to everything wizard, because I'm going to have every skill runed.
Yeah,
And I
but
can
you don't know
just
what
open up my
rune.
spellbook
Because at
and
that
switch.
point your
So
access to at that
well,
point your
you don't know
access
what
to
runes
Ken's right. At
do.
that point your access to skills is limited only by your speed of opening up and switching your skills out.
Yeah, and the knowledge of knowing what rune, what skills. That's only for the first, first. Eventually, I'm gonna know what every rune does in every single skill for every class. So that, that's a whatever. But I just, at that point, what's the point of only having 6 slots? Why don't we just have like 100? Like, wow, just have you filled with the spells, because that's really all you're doing anyways.
Yeah.
So my thought with it is, I feel what's gonna happen is you could only have 6 runes that you can have every spell in the game and you can test them and play with them, but you can only have 6 of them ruined, which would be your 6 active. Otherwise, just
That
not really custom.
that could be very much how it is. That when you go to switch out a skill, the rune stays, but the skill switches. I have no idea if that's how it works or if it works the other way. So that's still up in the air.
It's obvious they want to put limitations so that you can only effectively use 6 skills. How they implement that, they're pretty much legion. And since the system's still evolving, there are really a million different ways they could do it.
Yeah, that's just the build they have right now. That doesn't even get into the build that they want to try out, which is, picking up a blank level 2 rune and then throwing it into a skill, and then it then becomes, rune of splitting. That way you have just a ton of different runes, more than 5, because every rune's going to do something different when you throw it into the skill, unless it's like the exact same rune. I don't know.
I kind of got the impression that it would still be like, obsidian rune kind of thing. It would be the same effects that we're aware of at the moment. It's just the assignment to obsidian rune or alabaster rune would happen on that random on that slot.
Once you put it in there, okay, yeah. That makes more sense.
Rather than it being more of a sort of random affix suffix kind of like trillion different options.
You'd also only be able to put it in that particular skill for that particular class from then on. It would be specialized to that one. So in that respect, it would be slightly different than just, say, a generic obsidian, because obsidian could be used in any skill.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd be able to swap it out.
It would become a like obsidian rune of magic missile.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Something like that. So I don't know. I don't know. I just want to get in game and play with it. That's all I know.
Oh, eh?
Or at least help them test these theories. Where do I sign?
Yeah. that proposed rune system, it sounds interesting, but I don't see how they're going to train the player how to use it.
It just seems like it's I don't know, prolonging like the information. Like it's giving it to you in smaller doses rather than giving it to you all at once and letting you figure it out and deciding what you like. It's kind of like giving you baby steps.
You see
and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Well, they said very specifically, you're looking at an obsidian rune, and you highlight it, and it has this huge block of information telling you what it does in every single skill you can put it in.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how do we make this a little bit more accessible to new players? So, if that's the main mindset that they're having, it does seem like an odd way to do it. But
yeah, that's what I found hilarious. Is they're like, we had trouble communicating to the player how it worked, so here's a system that is even harder to communicate.
I think a good like middle ground would to give you a blank rune, and this rune you pop it into a skill, and then it'll tell you what it does to that skill, or you can just like use it and see what it does to the skill, and then you can take it out of that skill, but it'll still keep that property information on it, and then you can pop it into another one, and then boom, it'll add like another block of text to it saying what it does to the new skill that you just put it in. So it's like you're figuring it out over time, but it's not giving you a limited amount of runes. You're able to use the same rune and then slowly figure out what it does to each skill by using it.
Honestly, I think they should just flat out stick with the current like color system and just change the tooltip, change the way that you access the
Yeah,
information.
that's what I'm saying.
So that like put it into the skill tooltip so that it's like, oh, this is charged bolt. If you have this kind of rune in it, it does this. If you have this kind of rune in it, it does this. You know, so on and so forth. So it would make the skill tooltips a little bit bigger, but the information would still be easier to parse, because then you get an obsidian rune and your eye is just looking for, it's like, oh, well, I think I want to put this in charged bolt because I don't have a rune in there yet. And so you just look at charged bolt obsidian.
Yeah, I
And
could
so you
certainly
can
see
scan
that
through the
over
information a
your-
lot faster.
I think I like the hover
the
idea,
only other
where you pick up the rune, you hover it over
Yeah.
the skill, and then it'll tell you what it's going to do to it before you drop it in there.
See, now the only reason I don't
do you
like
guys-
that is because I'd
I would
kind of
also-
like to know what the runes do for the skill, like even if I don't have the rune in hand, without having to go to the internet.
That's what I thought about.
I see what you're saying.
But then again, if you don't have those runes, it doesn't matter what they do anyways.
Yeah, I think it's more
So
fun
I would
to
do it like you
Fair enough. Yeah.
find it out on your own.
Yeah, you get obsidian rune or whatever, you hover it over charge book, see what it does, and that's recorded in your journal. And then you can go into the journal and like look at all of your skills that you have, what you do, and then you.
Now there's
you
actually a
complete
pretty
the
elegant way of
list,
doing it.
Yep, making a little journal
And
about
then
it.
you complete your list of this rune. I discovered what it does to charge bolt, and then like you can click on it and it shows a little like character casting charge bolt with obsidian rune in it. That's just
That'd be a
what
way of doing it, because my original rebuttal to that would be, well, okay, that sounds neat for the first playthrough when you don't entirely know and you've got the discovery, but really irritating when it's like, oh, well, crap, I just don't remember because I never use familiar.
Yeah.
That would actually be freaking awesome if once you discovered the rune and put it in a skill, that now goes in as a journal entry. And like they did in StarCraft 2, where you could open up your journal, you click on that, and you say charge bolt obsidian rune. Click on that, and it'll play like a little video of what it does. So like you can see the visual implications of it.
It's really nice
That'd be
in StarCraft
sick.
2 when you
Sounds
were
like a really
upgrading
long
stuff,
achievement list.
or you're like you're upgrading stuff. You're like, well, that sounds cool, but you need an action. You can actually see it in action.
Exactly.
And stuff too. Like, oh,
Those little visuals
that's
were
what it would
excellent.
do.
See, here's the only other thing that you got to keep in mind. With the system they're experimenting with now, they also want them to be unique. To every time you pick one up, they'll actually have unique variable stats. So this one might have +10 to attack power. This one might have another stat, in addition to having the usual rune effects. What do you guys feel about
I didn't
that?
pick that stuff up. I don't like it. Keep that stuff out of my runes. I just want my runes to augment the skills. Nothing else.
Yeah, I understand the concept behind, and now I don't think it's necessarily a one or the other. They could still have affixes on or suffixes on runes. You could still have an obsidian rune of the whale while using the rune system as we know it, without having to go to the whole, like without necessarily having to go to the whole blank rune that's randomly assigned. But then you run into a problem that they were talking about, which was inventory space, because now you've suddenly got a trillion different kinds of obsidian runes lying
Yeah,
around.
I don't like it. Searching for that perfect one, I don't like it.
Yeah,
There is a
I
point
want
where
an
it just goes too
obsidian
far.
rune level. Oh. Well, yeah, no, it's the obsidian rune level 5, or they go up to 5 levels, don't
7.
they?
Well,
The runes
7,
are 5
level 7.
levels? 7. Oh wow, holy frick!
Yeah.
So geez, 7 levels.
Yeah, so you wouldn't
you're
just be scrounging
constantly
around for
making
level 7.
Yeah, now you're looking for level 7s that have the perfect stat on
Exactly.
them as well. It's just like
It gets
kill
too
me
much.
in my.
I mean, I know
Yeah,
they
no, you're
love the
like popping-
randomization,
you're
and I
popping
love
in
the
levels.
randomization in gear. But at some point, I do
Like
think
we
there needs
said
to be
last
something
run.
in there.
You guys keep
I never
talking over
thought
each
I'd
other,
see the
and then
day.
you stop at the same time. Oh, it's too much.
Time
Are we?
delay. I'm talking when it's empty. There must probably a delay.
Yeah, there is. Anyway, I don't know. They still got stuff to figure out with the skill system.
Yeah, I just never thought I'd see the day where there's so much customization that people are going, no more, no more, please, no more.
That's too much.
I don't feel like that's actually customization anymore. Like, you're not customizing anything. You're min-maxing at that point.
Well, that's
It's
no,
possible
no,
you
no,
could
no,
do
no.
both.
That's how it is with skill points. I mean, you add a skill point system in, everybody's going to the internet to find out what the ideal skill point system is for the build you're going for. I mean, it singles stuff out into builds rather than opening the door to experimentation. Because you get in the mentality of, do I really want to put this skill point in this skill? Maybe I want to save it for something else that sounds better.
The min-maxing
Yeah, no,
aspect would only be if you
I-
had one stat that, was viable and, then you're just trying to get the highest of that stat, as opposed to,
And that's
having a
exactly
rune that
what I
adds
don't
life
like.
or having a rune that adds damage.
Well, no, I like how the runes all do different stuff. I don't like this extra little addition onto it where, like, I need a level 7 obsidian rune that has 25 attack power instead of 24 attack power.
Yeah. That stuff they're not doing with the
That's what
current build.
min-maxing.
Oh, I see. That's what you're saying about the min-max stuff. Yeah, I don't like that stuff either. And they don't have that in the game rune system that they have
Yeah.
implemented right now. That's just an idea for the randomized rune system that they're toying
Yeah.
around with. To be very clear.
I mean, theoretically, you could remove the entire min-maxing idea by saying, okay, this will add 25 attack power if it adds attack power. If it adds another stat, it'll only add, say, 15 of that stat. And you'd never actually run into that problem. It's just they would have some kind of variability as far as the side effect.
I don't like it.
Well, you'd still be able to use enhancement to slowly, if you found the one with the stat you're looking for, you'd still be able to use enhancement to slowly creep it up to the value you're looking for.
Right.
But I think just even the whole, we already have so many gear slots
Exactly.
and so many little things that we're twiggling with, then going like, okay, I need a level 7 obsidian rune of the bear.
Plus, that seems like that seems like a job for the talisman, which they said we didn't get a system we were happy with, so it sounds like an expansion thing. So it sounds
Right, that's actually exactly what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Is Talisman isn't going to make it into the original release,
Yeah.
so
Oh, how about that?
because they weren't happy with the system and they want to do it right to where they are happy with it. So sounds like an expansion thing to them.
What was that thing even supposed to do? Something with your
Charms. It was
stats?
supposed to manage your charms for you. It was supposed to be a
Oh,
dedicated
charms,
inventory
yay.
for charms.
that's right.
Terms are gay. That's all
Yeah,
I
they
say.
found that it
Terms are
didn't
lame.
actually solve any of the problems that they had with charms, so they just were like, eh.
I hate charms. The problem they have with charms is that charms exist. That's the problem. So just let's not have charms, and then we don't need to worry about them.
They don't exist technically.
Good. Hey, problem solved. There we go. It sounds like the talisman working perfectly then.
Alrighty. Any other things we need to cover for this show? Any other questions, comments, concerns? No? Yes?
I think that's about it.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Not that I can think of.
Cool.
Game's getting close.
It is. Beta's getting close. Sucks we won't be able to play with runes, though. But you win some, you lose some. Gotta save something for the end product.
Well,
Playing the Diablo 2 beta, anything would be an improvement, really, because all you got in the Diablo 2 open beta was town, the Bloodmoor, the Den of Evil, all the way up to, the Blood Raven. That was it.
Oh.
There was literally nothing else. You maxed out at level 20, you could only play the Barbarian, you only got the first couple skills, and that was it.
That's...
And the thing was, it was so crowded and everything that people were actually trading perfect gems by finding gem shrines and upgrading chip gems. It was the craziest thing you have ever seen.
See, and
We
I foresee the same thing happening again. Like, people will have,
yeah.
Someone in the beta for Diablo 3 will have a level 13 gem.
Ooh, that's bold. Bold statement.
That would only be assuming that gem
The-
shrine something to that
The
effect.
community, like, it surprises and terrifies me at times. So I am not going to underestimate someone's dedication to a beta.
Oh, one little thing I should note: there were
Yeah.
shrines in game. I actually ran up on a couple shrines that increased my magic find and gold find
Awesome.
for small
Neato.
time.
See, if Magic Find is in the game, that's how I'd be okay with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also had a couple items that had magic find on them, like 4% or something
Balls.
like.
Well, so what you're telling me is now there's going to be Magic Find gear?
Yes, it looks like it.
I'm going to have a set for Magic Find. That's what you're telling me.
No.
I thought they were trying to avoid that.
I
I'm
switched.
now upset.
I think it was gloves that I had, and I had one that increased attack speed and one that had like 4% to magic find, and I was like, screw that, dude, I'm taking attack speed because firing arrows at, 5% faster is dope. And it was. It was actually a significant amount too, like you could visually tell it was more arrows going out at a faster rate.
Yeah, as long as the magic
I believe
find
how they
doesn't exceed
fixed the
those
magic
numbers,
find
that should be
issue.
fine.
Like, I think how they fixed it was just keeping it within a set range, so like you can cap out, and there aren't items that are like hiding off of the top end of the loot table. They also don't have. They said they've gone to lengths to avoid having like, oh well, this boss drops this item.
Yeah. Yep.
No, that's every Diablo game. I mean, that would be, crazy if they started doing that.
Think we're done for the show?
Yep.
I think we've got it covered.
I think so too.
Feels like it.
So, I'm going to be on vacation for about a week and a half. So, any questions, comments, concerns, leave them on the blog, YouTube, email, any way you see fit. Facebook, and I'll get them when I get back, get to them when I get back. And we'll go over all of it in the next show. Anything we missed, any like fixes to what we say Blizzard puts out, we'll be sure and include it in the next show. So for now, say goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Farewell.
We'll see you all next time on the World Stone Keep.